Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is the show all about farmers markets and how to increase your market business success. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a farmer or food producer selling at farmers markets, this is the podcast for you. On today's episode of Tent Talk, we're talking about market turnover. Are you a manager seeing a lot of changes to your vendor mix right now? Are experienced farmers leaving the market? If you're a vendor, do the food makers leaving your market know something that you don't? Keep listening for those answers. Hey everyone, I'm Brijet Myers. I'm one of your hosts here, and I've spent years and years as an on-site farmers market manager and do it all from pulling permits to social media marketing. And I'm the education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Catt White, your other host, director of San Diego Markets, still an active farmers market manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and producer, very overworked at the moment, producer of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference.
You are producing.
I'm producing it.
Welcome back to Tent Talk.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to be back recording another episode of Tent Talk.
Yes, it is. I love it. It's really nice because it keeps me thinking about ideas, and it helps us sit down and think about our job. And I'm oh yeah, this is happening. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, instead of just chatting to each other in the office.
That's right.
We can chat with all of you. So nice. So it's so nice to be back. What else have we been doing? Instead of ordering swag, proofreading name tags, making room reservations for speakers, all those fun conference things.
There's a lot of details involved in putting together an amazing conference.
Certainly are.
But we're really excited. It's the fourth year of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference. We're in the home stretch. A little less than 3 weeks until we kick off.
I am feeling really good.
I am too.
I'm at the point where I'm just picking out the outfits I'm going to wear for the conference.
I noticed that this morning. French, what you working on? What are you flipping through online there? Why is your screen full of dresses?
And then I'm looking and I'm like, that's not functional for the conference. All right, this might be too personal. But yeah, I'm just at that point where it's just I'm excited. Let's go. Let's do this.
That's exciting. Let's do it. It's going to be fun. There's such a full schedule this year.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. And so many alumni coming back. I
That's
love that.
I love it too.
I feel like this is a good sign. And I always say it about the farmers market. People will say, well, how do you know that your market's healthy or whatever, and that's a big question. There's lots of factors. But I go, it's these people are here. They keep coming back every week. They're not leaving, a core, you always have turnover. We're going to talk about that in this episode. But it's look at these people, they come back week after week. And so that's what I think about the conference. It's these alumni students that are coming or attendees that are coming, they're coming back.
We have a few people that are here for the fourth time.
It must be a really great conference.
I think so too.
It's hard to tell when you're in it,
it is hard.
But now I feel like this is a good sign. So I'm so excited to see all the alumni, all of our friends.
That's right.
And meet all the new people that are coming.
There's some fun new people.
Absolutely.
I've been talking to some of them online. We opened a private Facebook group for the folks that are attending the conference this year so they can get to know each other a little bit better before they get here.
I love
so it's been fun to kind of see people in there and see somebody on Instagram and say, oh, I just noticed they're signed up for the conference.
Yeah.
I just asked them what size t-shirt they wear.
It's so fun to get to know everyone beforehand. So, and what else is going on? How are we going to choose who gets to pitch their tastemakers idea to Catt Neville?
That's going to be exciting. I'm really excited about that session.
Yes, you are.
You know I am. I've been trying to do a Shark Tank. What were we going to call it a few years ago? The Uni Pond.
Uni Pond. Okay.
Pitch your idea in the Uni Pond, and judges will, vote you off the island, or they'll tell you, yeah, let's do it, or you get a place in a farmer's market. I pitched that so hard. My team wasn't really, they weren't with it.
Pimp my booth kind of contest.
Oh, man, I really wanted to do that one. Pimp my booth.
I'm kind of into that.
We're still going to do that.
Okay, well, we can do it. We need to organize it. But yeah, we've always wanted to look for some kind of pitch and attendee involvement.
Yeah. I actually have a vendor in mind at one of our markets whose booth I'd like to pimp.
Oh.
I think we're going to talk about that actually on the next episode when we talk about taking a wonderful booth and actually making it function so that you make sales.
Take the money. That's what I always say. Hey, I want to talk to you about something. It's about how you should be taking the money. Okay, that's the next episode.
That's the next episode. Okay. But so this year, it's not the Uni Pond exactly, and we're not kicking anybody off an island, but we are going to have, after Catt Neville shares with us how to get your story out to people that can spread it, because, she's the host of Tastemakers on PBS.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah, amazing. They just launched their second season.
I love it.
So many people that they featured. We met her because she did an episode on edible alchemy and JR Organics that supplies a lot of the vegetables and things that they ferment. So she was here. She met me at the market. So that's been really, really fun. So the second season is out, and after she gives her presentation on how to get the word out about what you're doing, your business, 5 of our attendees are going to have a chance to pitch Catt, really fast pitches, and try to convince her that their product and their story should be on episode 3.
I love this.
I love it too.
So exciting.
It's so exciting. So
and getting to know our attendees, I feel like there's some good ones in there. So
yeah, I think there's probably
awesome.
some good stories there.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yep.
Because, pitching your product to be on TV is not all that different from pitching a farmer's market manager to make space in their market for you. What do you think?
Exactly. We get pitched a lot, so it's kind of the same thing.
It is.
Yep.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, curating and evaluating applications, that's kind of the genius of creating a great market.
Yes.
So being able to kind of dig through people's stories and figuring out what they have to offer, that's a good thing. Don't know about our listeners, but we're doing a lot of that this time of year. It always happens in January.
For sure. I feel like I always have to kind of remind myself too, because we have a handful of vendors that are moving on and leaving the markets for whatever reason. And sometimes I go, oh no, like what's going on at the market? And I just have to remind myself like 'tis the season, and that just happens. And so just looking at why, and then thinking about, well, what new awesome vendors are we going to get now?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
It's nice.
as people leave, other people come in.
Well, especially in markets where you're full. So
Yeah.
you've used up, you got a finite amount of space.
Yep.
And you've used it up. You're not going to kick somebody out to make space for a new vendor, but you've got this great new vendor that it's applying.
Yeah.
It's sort of a relief to see some turnover.
Exactly.
So, some markets, they have everybody reapply every year.
Yes,
Greta used to do that at Beverly Hills. I know
Yes.
of a lot of other markets where everybody applies every year, even the ongoing vendors that have been in before.
Yes.
Now, I'm guessing there's some courtesy given to the vendors that were there last season. They do this a lot with seasonal markets, but like Beverly Hills was a year-round market, still is a year-round market, but Greta's not there anymore. But she said, even though it was year-round, the beginning of the year, they would always, or sometime of the year, they would have a whole reapplication process. She said it just kept things fresh.
That's kind of nice.
It is nice. Our vendors would roll over and die if we told them that everybody had to reapply. They would not be impressed. That's not a thing in San Diego.
No, it's not a thing. So other markets aren't doing that. And we've had our longest running market's almost 12 years old. It's going to be 12 years old this summer. So to do that all of a sudden, I want to know if there's market managers that have like transitioned into that, because it would be kind of nice.
It would be cool. I've thought about doing it just for
up.
maybe one category or another.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I want to talk to some other market managers at the conference and see.
Do you think any of our vendors are listening to this and quaking in their boots?
Don't worry. We're not going to shock anybody with this.
Nothing sudden.
No,
nothing sudden will happen.
Sudden.
Yeah. And seasonal markets, I mean, they shut down for 5 or 6 months. So
yeah, that makes more sense to do that.
Then they're starting again with a whole set of new applications. And so I'm guessing they see a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Because those people have to do something else in that 6-month period when things are closed down. I wonder how many of them come back. Some of the farmers are going to be seasonal.
Yeah.
So it's fine. That's just not when they're growing. But especially some of the other people, the other vendors, I mean, do they just find a different way to make money, but then they drop that and come back to the market? Or do they develop new habits and they're not back to the market? So you see a lot more new people.
Yeah, I wonder.
Don't you wish we had like a call-in line right now? Market managers out there, call in and tell us your experience of seasonal markets.
We need to figure that out.
We do need to figure that out. Adam, on it. He's on it.
We could be Delilah.
We could be Delilah.
Call it in. I really like that input. But that's good. I mean, we'll talk to other market managers, or if, you guys can always get a hold of us and email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.
We've had a lot of emails lately about things.
Oh, I
and
love
a lot
it
of Instagram messages. It's like, can you do a podcast about reducing plastic at the market, which is coming out. But,
yeah.
But
Someone's asked us that.
Yeah, we do. We get a lot of messages about what to talk about. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, even year-round markets like ours, and like more and more markets nowadays that are year-round, they have a period of turnover. We tend to see it more in January, I find.
Yep.
January and probably
Like September?
September. I think people have developed different habits in September as their kids go back to school and that kind of thing.
That seems to be like a second new year.
I think so,
for
too.
some reason in the farmers market business, and I
It
really
always
noticed
feels that way to me.
in my life. Yeah, we've talked about that on the podcast before. Just it's kind of like a fresh start kind of point of the year.
Season.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I think January's like that too. I think markets are so busy during the holidays that even if somebody's thinking about taking a break from markets or turning a new direction or what have you, they'll just kind of tough it out through the holidays because there's such good sales then, and then plan to leave in January. So January is when we get notice from people. That's probably the month where we get the most people saying, I've been at these 3 markets, now I'm only going to do 1, or I'm leaving markets, I'm going to go do something else. We're moving out of town.
Yeah, a little bit of change going on in people's lives. So
Right.
as market managers, it's good to remember that, not to take that personally.
Right.
Which really did take me a while, because I would get so, not like offended, but just like...
Hurt your feelings?
It would hurt my feelings.
It's a rejection thing, isn't it?
We've had vendors that have been like, I'm opening up a restaurant and I'm leaving the market to go run a restaurant, or to, have a wholesale or something like that. And I would just like take it so personally, and nothing to do with me.
Right. It's not about you.
But I really wanted them in the market, and you get really attached, especially market managers and other vendors that are in the market for a long time. Like, we do our shopping at the market. So if a vendor leaves whose food I've been eating every single week for years and years and years, that is really sad.
It is.
So it's an emotional roller coaster when we have this turnover.
It is.
I'm an emotional person, but
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do?
But it happens.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really sad, because sometimes the turnover happens because the vendors will say, like, this is too much, I can't do it, like, I have to go out of business because
that's
it's not
sad
working. So that's really the sad part. But that doesn't happen as much as people just kind of moving on into different avenues or whatever.
Yeah, doing something different in life. And, that's something to point out, too. Don't wait until you're going out of business to tell your market manager that you're leaving the market. If you're having trouble, talk to your market manager. They may be able to look at your display and tell you something really basic that you could change up and make more money.
Yeah.
Or we've talked about this before, too, on the podcast, and we will continue to talk about it forever because it's a thing. If you don't have production capability to make enough money to really be making a profit at this and making your time justified at the market, a lot of times what people do is say, I just can't make enough. I'm selling out 2 hours before the market closes. I just can't make any more. This business just isn't working. And in fact, they could raise their price. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Sell more, make more money, actually show a profit for the amount of time they're spending there, no more effort. And a lot of times we all tend to just sort of undervalue what our product or our work is worth. And so that we go in with a really low price, and people seem to not believe they can charge more. And a lot of times those customers are out there, they're delighted to pay double to get that cookie.
Exactly. Because they're out there at the farmer's market. Like we've said before, it's not like it's easier to shop at the farmer's market than to go to the grocery store or to order Amazon Fresh or whatever. So they're there because they want that good, high quality experience. They want to talk to you when you buy it. I mean, I pay that. I probably invest the most money in food in my life, because I want that.
You should.
Yeah.
Pay. What's more important?
Exactly. So, I feel like people are paying for that experience. You don't want to overcharge people or gouge people. That's not the point. But, pay for what it's worth. Charge what it's worth.
Right. Charge what it's worth. So in terms of turnover, give your market manager a heads up, or talk to somebody else that gives you good advice. Don't just wait until the very end. Talk to a fellow vendor sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll have a suggestion for you that makes sense, or talk to your commercial kitchen operator. Yeah. Talk to another farmer. Yeah. If you're a farmer and you just don't know what's happening. So it's good to not wait till that very last minute when you're going out. But I feel like that's not where we see most people leave the market, honestly.
No, I was just thinking before we started this podcast is like the turnover that we've been having lately and where those people are going. I don't think anyone's folding their business. They're all just doing like different things, or going into wholesale, or going into a shop or something. So they're not like folding their business. I don't think anybody is.
Or there's something changing in their life. We've got somebody whose spouse is traveling more in their job, and they've got a young child, and they need to pay. You've been there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then sometimes those people come back, so they'll take a break. So it's good to like leave on good terms with the markets, because you may want to just hit pause on your business and then come back, which is just something that happens in life with any business, right? As business owners do. You want to just hit pause instead of like abruptly stop and fold everything. So you can maybe come back later, when your kids are older, or if your spouse's job changes, or, whatever. You get in corporate world and hate it and want to come back to working in the happy farmer's market.
That's true. Yeah,
exactly.
We require our vendors. Require is a... it's a wishful term, but we require our vendors in our market rules to give us 2 weeks notice if they're leaving the market, so that another farmer or vendor can, in the case of farmers, even more notice is better, because we need to tell another farmer, plant more. Yeah. It's going to take a while to get that harvest running and in the ground, so that they can fill the farmer's space who's leaving. Mm-hmm. And we've seen retiring farmers that have been great about that. They'll tell us in June, hey, I'm going to the end of the year, but then I'm retiring. So start looking around for somebody else that's growing oranges or something like that. And that's good. Same thing with food vendors. We often have a backlog of applications, but those folks need time to secure their insurance and get their temporary food facility permit and inventory up and get ready to do a market. So if you tell me on Monday that you can't do that Tuesday's markets, nobody else has time to inventory and prep and be ready for it. If you give me 2 weeks notice so that I can tag somebody who's been waiting for a space, that makes more sense. And it means that you're leaving on a professional level. We're all friends, no hard feelings. And if you decide you go out to that corporate job and you really hate it and you want to come back to the tent, you're okay to come back and reapply. And we've seen a number of vendors do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And they come back and they left on good terms and they get to come back into the market. This Saturday, we have a vendor coming back who has been out for 6 months or so doing other things and coming back. And we're just so excited to have him back at the market. So
But he gave us plenty of notice. Even though I think his was a bit of a duress situation. He had some legal stuff going on and things, but he still was smart enough to give us a heads up 2 weeks before he left and say, there's a good chance I'm going to have to leave after 2 weeks. And he did. But yeah, they're back and we're really happy to have them.
Yeah, it kept us in the conversation. It's good just to have a professional relationship with your market manager and with your vendors and farmers. Just remember that it's like any other kind of professional relationship that you would have. Give that courtesy because you never know down the line if you're going to want to come back, and just because it's a professional thing to do.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you're ever going to come back, just be that professional person.
Yeah. You never know.
Helpful for everyone.
That's right.
We have had vendors that
karma.
have come back. We just had a vendor come apply.
We did. Oh.
We have a food vendor that we don't take a lot of prepared food at our Little Italy market, so those spaces are kind of coveted. And we had a longtime prepared food vendor who's moving to New York, so he left the market, and another vendor who left with no notice so abruptly years ago, ditched out on our market. He just contacted us and said, hey, I heard there's a spot opening up. I was wondering if you guys would consider me. And we're like, let's search our email and see how our emails were a couple of years ago. Sorry. So that's just not really the way you want to go out, because market managers remember.
We do remember. Not to say we hold grudges, but the fact is we're looking for people that can behave professionally, be courteous towards us and the team and their fellow vendors. And if you ditched us a few years ago with 6 hours notice, that's not a good predictor of how you might treat us this next time. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like any professional business.
Right.
If you leave a job, we're not your employers, but if you no-call, no-show a job and then come back 2 years later and want to work at that job again, the boss is probably going to, have a little pause about that.
Or if you apply for another job and it turns out that new prospective employer knows your old one, and it happens, folks. It's a small world out there. So, that's probably not going to go well for you in applying for a new spot. And that can happen at markets too. I've had market managers contact me and say, so-and-so says they were in your market. How'd that go? And most of the time I'm able to say, they're great. They'll be a great asset to your market. This will be wonderful. But once in a while I've had to say, I'm just going to give you a heads up. That's somebody that was not ever on time.
Yeah.
Didn't set up on time or left with no notice. I'm, just a heads up. If you're going to take them into your market, you might want to have those conversations before you get started with them.
Yeah, exactly. So just remembering that professional, one of our P's that we've talked about before, just be professional.
That's right.
Yep. What else about leaving the markets?
What else? Some people do leave because of burnout. I mean, we just said that, but we're doing a burnout session. How to beat burnout session at Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, moderated by you, who experienced a little burnout yourself.
I certainly did.
Yeah. And then by Helena Sylvester from Happy Acre Farm, who is, she says, cutting back a little bit on farmers markets because she's got a young child, a toddler, adorable. She uses him on social media a lot. So
cute.
Yeah, check him out. But she said they're tired of missing all the birthday parties.
I'm telling you.
And you had that same situation.
Yeah.
When your youngest was so young.
Yeah, missing all the sports games and the birthday parties. My husband is like the birthday party parent because I work on the weekends. And so if I show up to a birthday party, my preschoolers' friends' parents are like, oh, who are you? Oh, Calvin has a mom? Like, it's always so... they're like, we know Calvin's dad. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I'm the mom.
Okay.
I exist. I'm at work on Saturday, I swear. And I'm going to feel really, really kind of like a sissy talking with Helena because she's farming. So
She's
when
farming,
I say I'm burnt out from my farmer's market, like working at the farmer's market a few days a week job, I think she'll have a little bit better excuse. But still, it leads to a little burnout, and it's good to talk about it and just get it out there and just know when it's time to pull back.
Right.
And then know when it's time. So my kids got older, and of course they still have games on Saturdays and things like that, but now they're in leagues where they have weekday games, and I can go to those. So it's just a balance.
Yeah, life changes.
It's a balance thing, yeah.
Yeah, things change as you roll along.
Yeah, exactly. So just being able to be fluid. And I was able to be fluid because I gave plenty of notice and left on good terms and actually stayed on and did some
social media.
Yeah, social media and teaching Vendor 101 and things like that, doing the conference.
Right.
Stayed there. So, anyways, it's good to just kind of keep that bridge in case you ever want to come back across it to the farmer's market, because I'll tell you what, it's hard to stay away from the farmer's market.
It is. It's so hard to stay away. We've seen so many boomerangs lately.
So many boomerangs. Even people on our staff.
Yeah.
They left for whatever reasons.
We have 2 of them right now.
2.
They worked for us years ago and left. One of them's husband got stationed overseas, and she was gone for a while. Came back.
Yeah.
After a few years. We've got another one that became an EMT.
Yep.
Came back. He wants to do something happy in at least part of his life.
That makes sense.
That does make
sense.
sense.
And I have seen other vendors that do that too.
Yeah.
They leave the market because they want to have a more stable job, get that insurance, all the things that us farmers market folks have issues with sometimes. But then they go into some corporate job and realize, no way, this is why I went to the farmers market in the first place.
I don't want to be in a cubicle.
No.
Yep. Don't want to be inside all the time.
So just remembering that, especially as a market manager, if you're kind of juggling all these vendors and farmers, thinking about it as, are they graduating out of the market?
Right.
That's a good thing. Are they succeeding out of the market? That's a good thing. Are they pulling back on their market hours to take care of themselves and their family? That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
It affects your market because maybe you're down that product at your market, or you're down the income that vendor was providing you as a market manager. But thinking about if they're pulling back to take care of their family, that's a really good thing.
That's a good thing for them. And, on the other side, too, you get a chance to introduce some fresh products.
Exactly.
Now you've got room for a new vendor or a young farmer as an older farmer retires. We've had some older farmers retire at the Mercado, especially where we've been for so many years. We're now seeing some of that retirement, and it's sad, but we have room now for younger farmers where we were full for so long.
Exactly. So. And it's happy when older farmers retire because
good for them, because they work hard. They work hard.
If anyone earns their retirement, it's farmers.
No kidding. Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's okay. Turnovers are okay.
Turnover's okay. I think that's the message. Farmers and farmers markets know their seasons for the crops, and we know there's seasons in life, and it's okay to come to the end of a season, and it's exciting to welcome a new one.
Exactly. That's our note for today. That's a theme for the month, I think.
That's right.
For us and, everyone else that's kind of working in this realm. Just think of it like that. Don't take personal offense like I used to.
There's a season for everything.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks you guys so much for listening. We are so excited for our big conference coming up. Please follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. Go to our website, farmersmarketpros.com, for more tips, tricks, and information. We have an email newsletter, and you can register for the conference. It's not too late. So go get your tickets. The 4th annual Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, is coming up on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here in San Diego, California. And get on there and get those tickets. Not too late. And we
75 degrees here.
It's 75. We're wearing t-shirts and jeans and sandals, just if that entices you a little bit. It's going to be beautiful. The venue is really close to the beach, so if that helps anyone make their decision, just come on down. It's going to be a really great conference. We're really excited. And also, thank you for listening to our podcast. Please leave a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, and let us know how you're enjoying Tent Talk. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast. That just helps those little algorithms kind of get the word out and show other people that there is a farmers market podcast. It exists. And subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, because it'll give you a little ding every week. Thank you so much for tuning in. This podcast is produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded by Adam Samaha and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thanks for listening.